Welcome to How Preschool Teachers Do It.
I'm Cynthia.
I'm Allison.
And we have a combined 55 years of experience working with children, families, and experts in early education.
We are not random influencers.
No, we are not. Whether you are new or have been our podcast peeps since 2018, we are thrilled you found us. Good Monday, preschool peeps.
Hi, peeps.
Welcome back to the podcast. And last two episodes we had technology-based topics, and we do not today. Go figure. Go figure.
I feel like we have a technology-based trivia.
Oh, we do. Okay, so we're shouting out a couple of places where people are listening to this podcast, and Allison has sort of a technology-based trivia. Go.
Yes. Okay. So first we're shouting out the people of Romania. So hello, everybody there. And second, we are shouting out the location of the first Marconi wireless station, which was in Somerset, New Jersey. And if you are wondering, what is that, Allison? Good question, because I just had to figure that out myself. It is where they sent telegraphs and Morse code wirelessly for the first time.
Yes, so it has to do with sending wireless Morse code for communication. Somerset, New Jersey.
Yes, who knew? We lived there. We didn't even know.
We live not far away.
Not far from there.
From Somerset, New Jersey.
Still did not know that was a thing.
So
that's cool. I think that's cool.
Thanks for listening, Somerset. You're right. I go through Somerset a lot. So thank you. Yes. If you see me out there on the streets, say hi.
Hey.
I say, hey, I know your podcast. If you're like, yeah, but I don't know what she looks like, go to YouTube. We are on YouTube.
Yes.
So go check that out. And you look us up the same way on YouTube. You just look up How Preschool Teachers Do It. And we have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
And a website with that name. And a Facebook page with that name. So you can check that all out. You can even be afterward. You can be like, hey, I saw you out in the wild in Somerset.
In your natural habitats.
In my natural habitat. It may not be a great thing.
Yeah.
We are talking today, as you can tell from the title, about standards, right? So everyone has standards. Every occupation has standards.
Yes.
Standards by which we make decisions, that we use to make decisions, that we use as a foundational touchstone for all the work that we do. And in early education, the standards are determined by the state. And then there are also other standards that are determined by entities that measure high quality, like quality rating and improvement systems in the states, which are separate from the people who write the standards often. Yeah. And like the National Association for the Education of Young Children has an accreditation with standards. Yeah. So there's lots of places where we can find these touchstones, these standards. And in my work, I often encounter people who use tools that cross over to the standards. For example, if your program uses a tool like HighScope's Core Advantage or Teaching Strategies Gold, those are tools that help us to understand the milestones that we help children reach toward, and they are our touchstone. This is why we're here, because we are here to build skills. The skills are described in detail in the standards, and those tools cross over to the state standards. But folks, all roads lead back to those state standards.
Yes.
They're not federal because in the United States, education is governed primarily by the states. Right. So every state has their own standards. There are standards for high school education, standards for middle school, standards for elementary school. There are also standards for early childhood education. And my experience is that people may have heard that the states have standards, but they've never seen them.
Yeah. Yes.
If you use a tool like Teaching Strategies Gold or HighScope's Core Advantage, great, they cross over, but you should still know your state standards.
Right.
You need to understand why using those tools matters, because they support the state standards.
Right.
But if I'm talking to people and I say because they support the state standards and they've never seen them, it's like a meaningless thing.
Right.
I think if we're going to teach young children, it's important for us to all have read, looked at, been educated in, reviewed even how they work, your state standards.
Yeah.
There are so many times when I have asked people, have you seen your state's standards, wherever they are?
Right.
And they say no. And I also, in a college course that I teach, my students have to find quality standards for their state. They need so much help finding that.
Yeah.
And it's online.
It's online.
but
Yeah.
they've never seen it. And I work with a lot of people who currently work in the field of early education, and they have come back to college to get degrees.
Yeah.
So I'm always sort of like, when I work with CDA students too,
Yeah.
to earn the CDA credential, you have to prove that you're competent in these different areas of working with and teaching young children, and it's based on milestones, which are based on state standards.
Right.
And when I say, here, you're going to, for your portfolio, you're going to draft a really high quality lesson plan, and you need to put the standards in there. They're like, what standards? No one sees these standards. Have you ever really sat down with our state's preschool teaching and learning standards?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
When have
And-
you done that?
Multiple times.
For
So when I was going through grad school, all of our lessons had to have the standards right there. So we dove into all of that in detail. And like when I make lesson plans for the public school, like we have not this public school, but previous one, like you would have to, it was a whole system, a computer system to make your lesson plans. And you would have to click on the standards, choose the ones that you wanted to use, add it into your lesson plan. And if you didn't have the standards in the lesson plan, it wouldn't accept it.
right.
So it was there for me. But so it boggles my mind that people are going through college prep courses and getting degrees, and it's not focused, because it's been the focus of every single college class I was in. And it was a focus in even my, when I just got my master's degree in educational leadership, they were focused on it, and some of those courses too.
It is focused on in my courses.
Right.
But they're
coming
unfamiliar
in
and they're
without
already
it,
working.
yeah.
They're coming in without it. And I understand
Yeah.
if you've never worked in the field coming in without
That
it.
I understand.
But I have a
yes.
lot of students who work in the field who come in without
Right,
knowledge
so that's
of it.
where I'm like, how are they not? Because how are they, if they're working in the field, they're not teachers yet?
They are.
So
They
then
are-
how are they making their
Well,
lesson plans?
well, there's the old, outdated, here's your theme, go find a book, a song,
Right.
a craft, which was
Right,
not based
okay.
on standards.
Yes, that's true.
There's our program uses this tool that we've
So we're
paid
just
for,
giving
so
it
we're
to
just
you.
giving that to you, and you don't need to understand how it connects to your state's requirements
Yeah.
for early education. So there's that happening
Yeah.
out in the world. And I think that it also is somewhat dependent on the age group you work with, because
Yeah.
there's still this notion among, not everybody for sure, but among some people, that if the children are like infants or toddlers, you don't need to plan. That's untrue. You need
That's
to plan
untrue.
for possibilities,
Yes.
and those possibilities would be based on the
Right.
standards.
Right.
We need to know what our states expect us to be doing and teaching.
Right.
And in the standards, my experience in our state and other states is that in the standards, they do explain to you the step-by-step of learning these skills. And they give you strategies, and they give you lots of really great information to use
Yeah.
as you plan for children's development and learning.
Yeah.
So the fact that that's not, people don't, I mean, if you open up our state standards, particularly for the 3 to 5 year old age group,
Right.
and you say to people, how is this structured? They can't tell you. The standards we have here for birth to 3, the structure is
Yeah, I'm
user
not
friendly.
As familiar with
It's
that.
user friendly.
Yeah.
But once you learn it, but I mean, you have to know that in all these standards there are strategies, there are examples, there are examples of the milestones, there are trajectories for
Right.
learning it.
Right.
And I just don't think early educators pay enough attention
I think
to it.
that this is true though. Like I was just having a conversation with a teacher at school, and she was saying how like she doesn't understand how this curriculum that we're using, that there's no like trajectory. I'm like, well, that you have to go by the standards to give you the trajectory, right? So like, but she was saying, oh, it just seems like it's all over the place. Well, no, if you know the standards, then you do know where it's leading, right? Like she was like, well, I don't know where it's going. Like, how do I prepare? I'm like, how do you not know where it's going, right? like, so I think that you're right. There's people that are working that really don't know.
No, and I think sometimes people are handed a curriculum and told,
And
do this.
Do this, yes,
And
correct.
but see, we're not
But you need to know the meaning of it.
yeah, we're not mindless
Yeah.
robots. When
Yes.
someone says do this, though, again, I'll admit, like, especially when I was a beginning teacher, they just went find a book, a song, a
Yes.
craft, And that's what I did. I was
I
like
know.
robotic
And
that way.
there are some districts that are like, you do what's in this. I'm going to hand this to you, and you're going to do it. And if you don't do it, then
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Some of them,
and then
because curriculums are not actually scripted. People just treat it that way.
the
They are a guide.
Yes, the district I'm in treats it like that. And then when you have somebody like me who doesn't do it exactly like that, they think that I'm wrong.
No.
And that's not true. I'm like,
They're a
no,
guide.
It's just a guide.
They're a
It is
guide.
not a Bible that I need to like script and like. But they're like, we want every classroom to do the same exact thing every single day. I'm like, that's
not how they work.
it's supposed to be.
It's not how
You
they
know,
work. You're
and
working
then-
with humans.
Yes. So I think there's even whole districts that don't understand how this works.
Shouldn't they be
So-
saying to you, we need you to work toward these standards? Here they are.
Correct. They should be, but they're not.
So,
I'm
and
telling
here's
you
a
because that's
curriculum
my
that gives you a
experience, because
framework.
I came from a district that was very standard based. Make your lesson plans, write your own lesson plans. It has to always go back to the standards. We didn't use teaching strategies, gold, or these other things. It was
core,
Yeah,
no?
we didn't use them. Nope. And I created my own lesson plans, and I made sure they went back to the standards. And now I'm in a district that uses one of these programs, and they're like, nope, we want you to do it exactly like that. We want every teacher to be doing the same exact thing every single day. I'm like, that's not how it works.
Right.
And so I still create my own lesson plans. I'll take those lesson plans that are given to me through that program, but then I make them my own based on the kids in my class, based on what we're doing right now, based on a lot of different
That's
things.
what teaching is.
That's what teaching is to me. And there's other teachers that are like, oh, I just basically copy paste and send it in. I'm like, but that might not be what your kids are interested in or where they are developmentally. And like, they're like, no, but that's what the district wants. I just do it that way. I'm like, that's not, these kids, they're not going to be learning anything.
The children's learning is always on a pathway. All of our learning is. It's on a pathway. And that pathway is described in state standards. And
Yeah.
from state to state,
It-
there are similarities, but there
Yeah.
can also be differences
yes.
based on where you are.
Yeah.
Right? And then sometimes I'll say to students, like, here, write a plan, or let's think of a plan. What is the standard? And then they don't go to the state standards. They do things like I know what the state standards say in my
Right.
state, for example,
Right.
right? And they'll be like, it'll say on the template, it'll say like objective or standard, and they'll write something like naming farm animals. Like nowhere in the standards
Nowhere in
does
the
it say a
standards
child
does it
has
say
to
that.
name a farm animal.
Yeah.
That's not the state's. And I'll go
Yeah.
back and say it doesn't say this in the state standards, and they're baffled by that.
Yeah.
It isn't the writing of the goals for your teaching aren't what do you want them to learn. It's what does your state want them to
Right.
learn? What does your
Right.
government want them to learn? What does your country want them to
Right.
learn?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It should be what are the standards? And then there are standards for things like environment
Yes.
and all of that come from the quality rating and improvement
Right.
systems that I feel like people are super focused on because they're going to be judged based on
They're
it.
too focused on it.
And
in my
they're
opinion.
going to be
Yes.
judged based on it.
Yeah.
And that's a continuous improvement system. You don't have to do
Right.
everything perfect from the gate.
Right, but here's the districts want you to do it perfect from the gate.
No, that's not going to happen.
And that's not going to happen. And so, like, you get so hyper focused on that as a teacher because you're like, well, maybe I'll get fired if I don't do this. When they don't see that, you're like, okay, I made the improvements and every year we'll improve more. And it's not going to be perfect from the get go. It's not.
I appreciate when programs tell me things like, we do use High Scopes Core Advantage or we do
Yeah.
use Gold, but we make our teachers put both the state standard and that number and
Yes.
that tools number
Yes.
on our lesson plans.
Yes.
So that they understand we are fulfilling the needs of
Right.
of what the state tells us we have to do plus this tool.
Right.
I think that's, if people are thinking,
That's
well,
what
how do I
should be
get, if you're
happening.
listening
Yeah.
and you're thinking, well, how do I get my staff to pay more attention to the standards? That's how.
That's how.
You tell them it
Yeah.
has to go in your lesson plans, the two different
Right.
numbers or the two
Right.
different
Two
things.
different things.
And there are crosswalks that can help them
Yeah.
do that,
Yeah.
like PDF crosswalks. But it shouldn't be like, when I say to people, write a plan, and they say something like, we're going to read, trying to think, we're going to read Goodnight Moon. Why? Because I want them to learn this vocabulary. Well, it doesn't say learn that vocabulary in the standards. It talks
No,
about
but if-
rhyme. It talks
Right.
about
if you're,
rhythm. It
if
talks
you
about,
want to read a book like that, then go back to the standard and be like, and do the one about rhyming. Do the standards that fit that.
yeah.
But don't be like, well, I want them to learn this word. Okay, well, then your standard might be like building vocabulary. Or
Yes,
like what,
the
you know,
standard
like,
would
so
be to build vocabulary, not to
vocabulary,
teach
not to
them the
teach
word,
them the
blah,
word.
blah, blah.
Yeah,
That's
so-
how I know you're not looking in the standards, because you're
Right.
telling me, oh, I'm going to teach, I'm going away from any
Yeah.
particular book, but
Yeah.
I'm going to teach them the word hurried. Okay, it doesn't say in the
doesn't say in
standards.
the
They have to-
standards.
it says you have to expand vocabulary.
Yes.
And however they state it in the standards is how I want to see it in your plan.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
And when I walk into your classroom and say, why are you doing this? I want you to tell me a standard,
Yes. Yeah.
not because it is winter, not because it is spring.
Yeah.
You are doing this to build skills. The skills are described in the standards.
Right.
So it is a little disconcerting, I think,
Yeah.
that there are so many currently working professionals who've never even looked in the state standards. They tend to live on a shelf in a boss's office.
Right.
And no, it shouldn't be. Every room, if they don't already, if you're already doing this, great. But if you don't have it already, every classroom needs a copy of the
I
standards.
have a binder of the standards in my classroom.
I've always had a binder of the standards
I
too.
think I'm the only one, but because I brought it from my previous district, because I think everybody's using other things. But like, I don't know. That grounds my teaching. So like, I
It
don't
does.
understand
And
how
like
other
I s-
people are
those-
teaching.
Those purchase tools also ground our teaching, but
Yeah.
you need to know how it crosses
Yes.
over. Not
Yes.
when you know that all these tools work together, what you're being asked to do in these curriculums feels less random,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And that is our guiding light.
Yeah.
Those standards. Why do I teach young children to build skills and to help them with their development?
Right.
And that's described there.
Yeah.
So if you are someone who's thinking, I've never seen my state standards or my country standards, or
Right.
wherever you live, whatever
it is.
you
Yeah.
have,
Whatever it is.
I hope you'll go and find them. I'm sure they're online. And if they're not, please ask someone. If you are an administrator, please make sure every room has the standards. And if you are a family member, please ask the program for a copy of your state standards. That's another thing. They're not an early educator professional secret.
No, yeah.
We should be sharing them
They're
with the
not meant
families
to
and
be.
saying, here are
Yeah.
the standards of our state. Here's the widely held expectation for children
Yeah.
in this age group. Here you go. Here it is.
Yeah.
And then when we communicate with them about what their children are doing, we quote the standards.
Yeah.
We say, like, we went on a nature walk. That helps your children practice the following standards
Right.
from the state of wherever you are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It should be quoted. Those standards should be quoted on nearly every communication to families,
Yeah.
so that they understand we're focused on these milestones.
Right.
That's our focus. And they'll appreciate that, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
They want their children to learn these things and to do well.
Right. It gives meaning to what we do.
It does. It gives meaning. It gives the why.
Yeah.
It gives the why, and it shows them we are professionals. Why are we professionals? We know the requirements, the standards, the expectations of the larger entities,
Yes.
like states and countries,
Right.
and NACE and whoever else, the quality rating system, whoever else gives you
Yeah.
standards,
Yeah.
right? All right, folks, go and ask for those standards or look
Yeah.
them up.
Yeah.
And I hope that when you look in them, you find, oh, this actually does have some valuable information,
Yeah.
strategies, descriptions of the pathway of
Yes.
learning this.
Yeah.
And we will catch you next time on the podcast.
Bye, peeps.
Bye, peeps.